This is About Time podcast. My name is Tommy J. Greer, and a couple of reasons why I want to put this podcast out because mental illness is a very important subject that we need to bring to the forefront. Question is, how much do we know about mental health and mental illness? Not much. How does it affect person's everyday life? We don't know because in our community, in the black community, it's a stigma, and we don't know on day-to-day basis what uh, what our friends going through, what our family going through, what our co-workers going through. But it's a subject that we need to talk about. Like I said, my name is Tommy J. Greer. I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety 12 years ago. Um, I'm not going to get into the reasons and all that right now. I just want to bring to the forefront that I have been living with this disease for 12 years, and it's been a bumpy ride. It's been some high points, some low points, some medium points, but it's been a nice and it also been a learning experience for me dealing with mental illness. And another reason why I want to speak on this subject is because when you hear about somebody with depression, uh, you always hear about somebody that's prominent, movie stars, actors. Uh, those people could actually afford the best therapist, could afford to the best medication. So I want to bring it. I want to talk about it from an average 9 to 5 guy that gets up in the morning, go to work, and come home and deal with it, and how I deal with it on a day-to-day basis. Like I said, it's been a bumpy road. Another reason is kids. Kids today are more vulnerable with the disease. Um, there's a lot more peer pressure out there for kids. That's coming up today. You know, I think it's ages 16 to 21, if I'm not mistaken, is 15% of the kids that's age 16 to 21 have had a serious mental letdown. And I think the suicide rates are 25% higher from the year of 2009 to 2017. That's I think it's 25% higher. And that's the data I have going up to 2017. That's 3 years late. So you probably don't went up. It's probably 30% right now. So it's a serious subject, and we have to come up with some kind of way to combat it. We have to come up with a way to instill mental illness classes or something inside the school system, the public school systems. Uh, so we could catch it early, so we won't have to read about kids that's committing suicide, or kids that's really hurting themselves because of this disease. You know, and it's a serious situation, very serious. And I have, since I've been dealing with it, I have talked to some kids, and they have told me a lot of they pressure is coming from from other kids, which we know that, but a lot of it's coming from their parents. You know, you know, every kid is not an A student. Every kid is not college material. You know, we put these pressure on these kids to do what we didn't do when we was that age, but we want to live vicariously through our kids' eyes, and we can't do that because every kid is not a strong kid. So we have to pay attention to our kids. We have to watch our kids. You know, just don't. That's my kid, and going about your business. No, we have to pay attention to the kid. We have to watch him. We have to talk to him. You know, the first thing come out of our mouth is, she or he is a teenager. That's true, but you know, we can't let that lay right there. We got to research what our kids doing. We have to be very vigilant with our kids. Um, it's I will I will I'm not gonna speak on what brought me to uh, why I went to see a therapist the first time because I gotta have something to talk about on my future podcast. So I'm not gonna we're not gonna dwell into that right now. But I would like to say a few things on why I went, why my life lived with depression. Um, Maybe if I could get to one person, maybe if one person could hear this podcast and they hear what my life is all about, maybe they could sit back and think about, hey, you know what, I'm going through the same thing Tommy going through. Or my cousin is going through the same thing Tommy going through. Uh, everybody gonna be everybody gonna feel funky 1 or 2 days. Yeah, that's life. You know, everybody ain't gonna have this happy life all the time. But if if it's consistent, if it's 2 weeks and you're moody, things that you used to like to do, you don't do them no more. Your eating habits, your sleeping habits have changed. You know, it's nothing wrong with going to a therapist. You know, the stigma was 15, 20 years ago. We used to, oh man, we gotta go talk to a therapist. We crazy. That person crazy. No, it's not about that. I've come to find out when I first when I first went to see a therapist, I thought the same thing. Man, I don't want to go talk to. I'm not crazy, you know. Hell, when she told me I need to go on medication, I almost flipped. You know, you know, I'm a, I'm a, I'm a, I'm a strong African American man. Why do I have to take medication for something that's going on within my head? But um, I came to realize that was the only way that I would be able to get better, and that's what we're gonna have to do. We have to put those of us with family. We have to put family first. You know, we have to put our family first because they're the one suffering just as well as we are. You know, and not this podcast, but I'm gonna just put it out there. We're gonna talk about this Sunday in November 2018. That was one Sunday afternoon that I would never forget. Um, and I think about it often, a lot. But I promised myself that I would never get to that stage again, uh, because it was a very, 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 very scary moment for me that Sunday afternoon. I mentioned it on Guru Speak podcast when I first did the podcast back, maybe a year and a half ago, and I'm gonna speak on it again because I think it need to be said, it need to be heard. You know, it's really it's out there. You know, what depression and anxiety have done for me, and more so in the last, I say, 2 years. Um, it has broken me down. It has taken away my self confidence. It has my struggles of pretending that everything is okay. Um, when people see me out in the streets or going to my cousin's house or at the tailgate, you know, they assume because I'm laughing, I'm drinking, I'm having a good time, they assume that I'm okay, you know. But it's not necessarily that. You know, a later tell me I'm home and I'm feeling type, you know, some type of way. Hey, why don't you go over to Carver City? Why don't you go to James Junior House? By me driving 5 miles is not gonna make me feel no better. And it takes a lot more energy to pretend. It takes a lot of mental energy to laugh when you don't want to laugh, to talk when you don't want to talk, to be nice when you don't feel like being nice. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of mental energy to do that, and I just for me to do that, I just, hey, you know what? I'm gonna just chill at home. You know, I took up reading. Um, my daughter tried to get me to do meditation. I'm working my way into that. I can't do yoga because I can't bend my knees, so I'm not worried about doing no yoga. But my older daughter, she want me to do these things that's help with self medication, and I do. I rather you know. Cause right now I'm not on medication. I decline. I won't never say I won't take medication again, but I rather try to self medicate myself in the ways that, to me, it'll help me build up my self confidence. Uh, and I'm gonna get to that in a few minutes. But when this pandemic came and it shut down the gym, that really threw me for a loop because the gym was my outlet. You know, 3 4 days a week, uh, going to the gym, staying about an hour, 15 minutes. You know, doing whatever. You know, and keeps me keep my mind occupied. My One of my therapists told me we have this something called cortisol in our bodies. When we exercise, it goes to your brain and make you happy. And I never knew that till she told me that, and that's what I that's what I thrive on now is exercise because it do calms my nerve. It makes me happy. Make me feel like I've accomplished something. You know, I try to walk 5 to 8 miles a week. It's hard with this rain and Florida heat, but yeah, I do get out there and try to do the best I can. And it's rough. It's a part of life that I don't wish on nobody. You know. And I'll talk a little bit my struggles with self confidence. It's hard for me to, and I'm not going to get into it in depth, but I'm going to just put it out there. It's hard for me to make decisions. It's hard for me to do things that I think I can do. You know, it's when I drive, I have very my anxiety, and it never was that way. It never was that way. I'll switch lanes in a heartbeat on your ass. But I cannot. It's hard to explain what the self confidence and this anxiety have changed my way of living, and and it's hand in hand. It's really it it's difficult. It's scary. It's if thoughts come to your head. The average person has 70 thoughts run through their head in 60 seconds. That's 70 thoughts. And with me, the most negative thought stays in my head. I could come up with some negative bullshit, and after a while, I believe it's going to happen. I believe it's whatever stays in my head, it stays in my head. And I mean, I could give you examples of what my mind is telling me. If I call my daughter in Tallahassee and she don't answer the phone, the first thing come to my head is something done happened. Nothing positive. Oh, she's taking a shower, or she's working, she's downstairs and her phone is upstairs. It's always something negative that's popped in my head. And I keep calling the phone. I keep calling the phone, and she'll text me or she'll call me back and say, "Daddy, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong." You know, uh, and it's like that with everybody that I care about. My older daughter, my wife. I can't. If you just got a dog, I can't leave the dog in the house by itself for a long period of time because I'm worried about what he could get into, which he can't get into anything. But I'm just worried about what he could get into, and it's in a simple variation that drives my anxiety up the wall. Then anxiety turns into depression. Then when anxiety turns into depression, and if I can't control it, then I'm mad. Then I get angry, and and only it's affecting me, but it's affecting the people that's around me also, and it's a sad. It's totally a sad situation. But let me say this before I forget. I want to thank Guru, Mike, Claude, Chef, Chef Vision Media for giving me this opportunity to speak out, to give me this opportunity to get this message across. Everybody's not gonna listen to it, but if just one person could hear this and feel that it's my motto is it's okay not to be okay. And that's one thing we have to live with. In this day in this day where look around, you got this virus, this mystery of a virus, and for a black man, you got racism. You know, that's another podcast. But I'm just saying is, we have to stay vigilant. We have to keep our minds rolling. We have to keep our minds busy. We have to do a lot of stuff, man, that we not used to doing. You know, we have to step back and look in the mirror and try to figure out what our next step gonna be. And it's hard if you're not used to living that life. It's hard to make a change, but we have to. We have to, just because everything is happening, and it's happening to a point that is. I don't think it's gonna be normal for a long time. You know, I really don't. I really don't.
Tom, explain the difference between the depression and anxiety for those that don't know.
Depression. Good question. I'm gonna give you my uh, answer. Depression is when you in a mood that you sad, uh, your mood changes, things you like to do. Like if you like to go fishing, you don't want to go fishing no more. You like to go golfing, you don't go golfing. Anything you love to do, you kick it to the side. You don't do it no more. If it consisted within a couple of weeks, 2 3 weeks, uh, and then that's what my depression was about. I didn't want to hang out with friends. I didn't want to do anything. All I wanted to do was just stay in the house, sit on the couch, and be a pain in the ass, you know. And my anxiety is some. My anxiety is I worry about everything. And when I worry about everybody get anxiety when they get on the airplane, whatever the case might be. Everybody get anxiety if they gotta talk in a mic like I'm doing now. Anxiety, yeah. But my anxiety, it controls me to the point that it controls my mind, and everybody know your mind controls you.
Mm-hmm.
So my anxiety have me. I worry, I stress out, uh, I think stupid shit. Uh, has me making wrong decisions, but don't want to make decisions because I'm thinking I'm gonna make the wrong decision. Uh, it kills my self confidence. I don't trust. It's hard for me to trust anybody because I don't trust myself. So if I can't trust myself, I can't trust nobody else.
Right.
Uh, it's hard for me to live. It's hard for me to live a normal life right now, and I'm hoping that this podcast will help me fulfill one of my goals that I want to accomplish to help build up my self confidence. Uh, that's something that's I have to work on. That's something, uh, and nobody can work on it but me. This ain't something I can say. Well, my wife could do for me or my daughters could do for me. No, this is something that I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to be this person that gonna have to do all this for me. You know, spiritually, I'm gonna have to. Cause my therapist also told me I have to forgive myself, and the only way I can forgive myself is spiritually. So I'm in the process now of saying my prayers and doing whatever I need to do to try to forgive myself. I guess people say, well, what you got to forgive yourself for? I don't know, but I have made some messed up decisions in the past, and that's something that stays in the back of my mind. That's stopping me from making further decisions. So for me to forgive myself, it's just like a spouse. Your spouse cheated on you, or I want you to forgive me. To me, it's the same thing. I just have to find a way to forgive myself. But there's no other person involved in this. It's only me. So I have to talk to the Lord to try to visit, to try to get Him to work with me, so I could
Move forward.
move forward with my life. I'll be 59 years old in 2 weeks. God spent my life. I'm still young. Don't get me wrong. I just can't go run around the block, but I'm still young, and I want God spent my 62. I could say, what, I'm tired of working. That's 3 more years.
Right.
You know, but I have to get my mind, my body, my soul right before I could even enjoy anything of my my life going forward. And that's what my goal is. Get my mind right, get my heart, soul right, and
There you go.
and that's it. I'm not. I don't want much. I just want to live this happy life that I lived 20 years ago. As far as I know, I don't know how long I had depression before I was diagnosed with it, but I just want to make sure that I get the word out there so we can help each other, especially my black brothers out there. You know, it's really it's really this is a subject to me that's very. I'm surprised I haven't broke down to cry yet because every time I talk about it, I get I get emotional because I know what it have done for me in the past. I know what thoughts I've had uh, run through my mind, uh, and I was a strong individual, and for me to have them thoughts, for me to have them thoughts in my head and letting them thoughts control my body. You can imagine what a young guy, 15, 16, 17 years old, going with these same thoughts when his mind, his brain and mind haven't been developed. You imagine what he going through, you know. Uh, Imagine what kids in general. I'm going back to kids again because it's very dear to me because a lot of kids are raised up one parent, no parents. Uh, a lot of kids raised up with no foundations. A lot of kids raised up with with, with no expectations. All they want to do is whatever they do. That's their life, and we have to find a way to get to our kids a little earlier so we can help them. The kids is our future. Kids is our future. We have to help them mentally, physically, spiritually, the whole 9 yards. We have to give it our kids, and we have to talk to them, understand them. Uh, don't be a parent on paper. Go hang out with your kids. Your kids in the sports, go to the game. Kids in the school band, go hang out with them. Go be there with your kids. You don't have to have a lot of money to be a parent. You know, everything your kids do, you have a hand in it, and your kids will understand. All right, we ain't got, we don't have a lot, but I know my parents love me. And that'll stop. That help these kids raised up and be productive and be some be a viable person in this society. It's very dear to me what our kids uh, are doing today. Cause when I was raised up a long time ago uh, in the country. I was raised up with one parent, uh, but in the country you raised by everybody that live on that street. You do something wrong, your neighbor gonna whoop your ass, and when your mama get home, she gonna tell your mama, guess what's gonna happen? You gonna get your ass whooped again. There wasn't no whooping with no belt. Whooping. I mean, I had to go across the road and get 3 branches. My mama sit there and braid them, tear my ass up. And next day I'm doing the same thing. But let's parents, let's work with our kids. Work with your kids. Love your kids. Talk to your kids. Please. It's very important. Very important. Um, I don't know. I'm about to call it quits here. But I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna always either start my podcast off with a Bible verse or I'm gonna end it with a Bible verse. And this Bible verse I'm gonna end it with is abandonment. after my daughter bought me this book. It's Prayers and Promises for Depression and Anxiety. And it's good. It's real good. And I'm gonna read this first verse. It's the Lord Himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Deuteronomy 31, 8th verse. And that's true. That's true. And I'm leaving with a quote. It takes courage to stand up to our weakness. Okay? If we know what our weaknesses are, and we don't stand up to them, we're gonna be weak all our lives. If it's just meet them head on and beat our weaknesses, work, so we could be that strong person that we need to be in the days to come. Like I said, I want to thank Shift Vision Media for this opportunity. Y'all young kids, y'all doing it in the 813. Hey, don't stop, keep it up. Guru Speak Podcast, Guru Views. Love you, man. Love you to death, bro. And I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity. So, it is. I love my audience. Whoever y'all gonna be, I'ma love y'all. And until next time, it'll be a couple of weeks. Hey, y'all stay safe out there. Wear your mask. And I love y'all. Peace out.